Somebody's got to do it. Greetings, dears. Wow. Is this some special day like Super Bowl? All right. So, how are you doing? How'd you do through April? Okay. Hiya.
Well, I had a nice big completion. So as of today, I finally graduated from UK. So it was a little busy towards the end, but I got it all done and I'm complete.
So now you're officially a learned person.
Officially.
Good for you. Good for you. The only way you can make your dreams come true is to step into the unknown. Otherwise, it's not dreams you're going to reach. It's going to be the same old, same old. And you chose to move out of your comfort zone, to move out of your nice world of the known, to take a step that was going to serve you better. It's so good of you. And along the way, touched many lives and learned many interesting things. Good for you. April. Interesting month, eh?
Look good. I mean, after surgery.
Right. It was actually good deering.
Yeah, I mean, it went well. I think I'm doing great. I'm learning how to not do as much, and I think my energy and how I'm doing is, I think I'm benefiting from
Good.
not being so busy and being at work, even though I have been strategizing on how to get my doctor to release me back. But it's been great for my energy.
There's something about this line here. Is that it? Same kind of lessons. Good. Good. Hi.
It was a great month. It really was. And you had started the month by, letting us know about these planets in retrograde and everything. But other than a couple little, just momentary, just little bumps, it was wonderful. It really was. And I've got to say that those little bumps, maybe 6 months ago, would not have been little bumps. But they were. And the power of love is just so strong that it just, I feel like I've got this, I don't know, it's almost like a life preserver or something that helps me float with it and go through it.
Nice visual.
Without being, it's hard to describe, but it was a glorious month. It was filled with joy and creativity and good work, and I feel like I'm breaking through some barriers to prosperity and some things that I've been working on in my life. It feels like things are, the old walls are crumbling, and I'm being remade. It's awesome. And to cap it off with the ritual. That I've been having dreams of completely being reconstructed every night. It's amazing.
Good. The year of the phoenix. Where there is fear, there is not love. Where there is love, there is not fear. Now, that's probably sounding a whole lot like the bumper sticker of the night, and that's not what I'm meaning it to be. Well, hello, Gwendolyn. It is, however, the way that it works. Your bumps, your glitches, those little things that hold you back are fear. And if you can label that fear, you can overcome it. But you're only going to overcome it with love. Recognize it. Call it by name. See it as a friend, any of those fears that is ready to go out of your life, or you would not be aware of it as a problem. It would remain simply a survival mechanism that you don't think about. You're thinking about it because you're ready to let it go. And love is how you do that. Loving yourself. Loving yourself. You have a song, Stuart? About that?
Well, there's a song by Meghan Trainor saying, I love me, I love you, I love me.
That's it. That's it. But the very thing that he just did, kind of laughing about that, is because it's so hard in this society to say that to yourself. I love me. Without feeling kind of self-conscious, like maybe you shouldn't love you. That by loving your own self, that's not being humble. But the fact of it is, if you're not loving you, you cannot possibly love anyone or anything else. Because it all comes through the prism of yourself. And you're only capable of loving outside of yourself to the extent that you are capable of loving inside of yourself. So good work with that. And April was a whole lot about just that. Fear and love, and recognizing mainly where you do not love yourself, as opposed to ideally where you do love yourself. May will hopefully be more about where you learn that you do love yourself. What is May about for you?
61st wedding anniversary.
What is the date?
May 5th, Beltane.
Very nice. Very nice.
Laura's birthday.
Laura's birthday. A lot of birthdays this month. Hey?
Me?
Yes.
May for me is about working on my new work, which is about the 5 elements,
Hey?
and putting out into the world a new way of relating to them within and without,
Good.
and exploring myself through that. And it's brought so many gifts to me in terms of insights, in terms of ideas, in terms of bridges, and I'm very excited about it. How we can have so many different conversations in so many spaces. It's the language that we need to pay attention to and the way it's presented. So I'm very excited about just being out in the world and serving.
You are performing outside of Lexington for this?
In Cincinnati.
Yes, yes. I knew it was in there somewhere. And when is that?
Well,
shows from June 1st to June 10th. I don't remember the exact dates, exact dates and times. But what I'm very excited is how translatable so many of the ideas are across cultures. And I'm finding more and more ways of being able to say it in different ways. And I'm very excited.
You know, the ability to communicate ideas rather than words, ideas, requires much more consciousness than simply communicating words. And that's not saying communicating words is easy at all. Look around in your life, you'll remember how challenging communication can be. But to communicate with your body, to communicate what your soul is feeling, is a gift. And you offer that. Thank you. So May is busy. What else is May? Mother's Day, more busy, yes. Yes.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, good, good, yes.
It's when spring just burst open.
Fresh green.
You're looking at last week and saying that? But yes,
Past Mays.
in this area, around this time, your flowers are safe to plant. You can start seeing a lot of the blooming beauty. Absolutely. Hi.
A lot of schools let out, so it's the beginning of summer break for many people, children, adults, so.
Very nice. So looking forward to a little freedom is a part in there. That's nice. Hi, Paula.
It's a time, for gardeners, it's a time of investment, because this is the time you plant the seed so that you can eat well later in the year, and hopefully, you know, things will come up the way you like them to.
New growth and the planning and the investment of money as well. That is a part of that.
It's a very special month for me because I'm reminded every year it's the Survivors Parade over in Louisville before the Phillies race. So it always touches my heart. So it's such a great honor and such a great thing to do for people to honor them in that way.
Very nice. Very nice.
Weesock.
We suck. Yes. Beltane and Visak were both mentioned. Anybody want to explain those? Remind me what they are? No? Yes.
Beltane is an earth holiday. and
It
it's a-
is.
It's a fire
An
festival.
ancient holiday.
It's a fire festival, and it celebrates fertility and the, as Paula was saying, planting the seeds to create that fruition in the rest of the year. It's a very goddess-related earth holiday. In later years, it became things like May Day and things like that. But Beltane, the origin of it is very much an ancient earth holiday.
Hi. Hi.
I'll give the Weesock a stab, see if I can remember. There's 3 Weesocks in April, May, and June at the full moons. And so April's the second one, and it's the second ray. So it's based on love, wisdom.
Very nice. I'm impressed.
No short-term memory, but long-term.
Yeah, for people that don't know, they're not tiny little socks. They're not wee socks.
Aye, that was my joke for years, though. We suck.
And this one follows the first WESOC, which is Will to Be.
Right.
And then it precedes the third one, which is Active Intelligent Activity.
Good, good. You mentioned that Beltane is often celebrated as May Day. And what is May Day about?
Depends on where you are.
Yes, very much. Not so much celebrated in the United States as it is in other countries, but what's it about?
In high school, in my ninth grade, when you're a ninth grade girl at my high school, you got to do the maypole dance. With the weaving the ribbons in and out, you know, it was, oh my God, still the whole pole is wrapped. And it's with ribbons by young women in nice frocks, and, you know. And, yeah, so it's about fertility.
Which is how the Christians took over the pagan holiday, right? Make it a
Make it a pretty,
maiden dance.
yes, definitely, very pretty ribbon, wine, all different colors. Very pretty.
Around a big pole.
Not a big pole, yeah.
That's her
Because all maidens love to dance around big poles.
For me, the hardest part was putting on a dress.
Just putting on the dress, eh?
Oh, my Lord, I had to wear a dress.
Pole dancers.
Early pole dancers. However, mainly around the world, it is a celebration of workers, isn't it? So talk to me a little bit about that. First, talk to me about why you think it's not celebrated so much here now.
I think it's because most Americans view themselves through media coercion and political manipulation as,
I call that the matrix.
thank you, the matrix, as I've heard, temporarily embarrassed millionaires as opposed to actual cogs in a wheel, maybe.
Is there anything wrong with being a cog in a wheel?
Except for the way that it's presented
Right.
and the ramifications of the matrix on the individuals that are actually building the community. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the way to be.
There is nothing wrong with being a cog in a wheel, and in fact, you would not function without those cogs. You would not function without the unity that is required in creating that whole wheel. And it very easily could become a celebration of the multiple people that come together to make your country and your world strong. And in many countries, that's exactly what it is. A celebration of the strength that comes out of unity in working together. The embarrassed millionaire statement. I'm going to turn that a little, I think, when I say so many people today are so wanting, dreaming, hoping to be the millionaire that they often feel like failures when they are not. So many people do not believe that it doesn't matter what work you do, but that you simply have enough to do what you want to be doing. Of course, if what you're wanting to be doing is to simply want, you're able to manage that pretty well. But to do more than that requires having goals. It requires believing that what you want is possible. It requires unity, because you don't accomplish on your own. You don't accomplish your goals on your own. There was a time, but it is no longer, because this is the time in which you recognize those who have helped you along the way. And success will not come without that. Here to tell you. So think for a moment, with your love wisdom hat on, in the work that you do. And of course, it doesn't have to be income work I'm talking about. It's what you choose to do with your time. In the work that you do, how did you get there? Who helped you along the way? Who taught you to keep going? Sometimes those are friends and family. Sometimes it's enemies. Well, all right, I'm not very much into the idea of enemy, but very, very often in life, it's those whom at the time you thought were doing damage for you. But as you continue in your process, you come to realize that moving beyond that experience, that person, has made you who you are now. Functioning as you are now, you know that the life you are leading now, somewhere in this world, there is somebody dreaming, if they could only live and be and do what you rarely think about anymore. May has 3 major components to it, all regarding not only the energy that's coming through, as so much is at this time, but also important insofar as directing you toward the eclipse in August. It starts with recognizing unity in your life. I did not say making sure that you are being united. I said recognizing the unity that's already in your life. Because one of the things you're going to be dealing with this month is how can I work together with this person or this situation? Samuel, is that a really nice way of saying that we're going to be getting a lot of conflict this month? No. It's saying that if you are functioning consciously, you're going to be finding yourself regularly looking for ways to reach out, to touch, to connect, to commune. So, is the expression about horns? You take the horn? You take a horn. You take a bull with its horns. By the horns. I don't recommend you do that. That's not a good idea. If you hold on really tight. All right, are you on the back of the bull or the front of the bull? That makes a difference too. Head rubs instead of horns, yes. Well, that's something to think about as well. Are you in front of it or on top of it? If you're in front of it, you may not be getting the view you need to get yourself out of trouble, because all you can think about is that bull. Nonetheless, taking that horn and very gently switching that situation into one that is founded in unity and love rather than conflict. Is that a yes?
I've been thinking about wanting to share this, and I thought this story seemed so long to me. But as most people know, I broke both my arms this couple of years ago. I'm still working with that.
Tough thing for a sculptor to have happen.
Yes. And I question, I've never broken anything before. And the moment it happened, it was like, oh, maybe I have to find something else, or, what am I supposed to do? I had already made a commitment to do something really, and I was looking at it as a kind of a final thing. So now
The last
here I am,
hurrah.
looking at, you can't do this. I have a part of me that is always, when you say, you can't do this, even me to me, being challenged somehow. That's not right, I can, somehow. So what I faced over the last couple of years was working hard to make the hands work for me. I'm very slow now in doing things, but I do them.
And I imagine you've had to learn some different ways of doing as well.
And at first it was like it just ran into walls, but as you probably know, I really believe in my connection with everybody and the greater part of myself and all of that. I don't know how to cover it all, but I go back to that all the time. Okay, I really need some help today. And the amazing part is it would come here's the help. And so I keep on plugging along with this big job. And I hope I can invite you all to unveiling in October, God willing that I make it. But it's just, it's the biggest challenge that I have ever had, was to overcome my giving in and that sort of thing. And I almost meet this every day, just getting started and making myself I've got to do more. It's a whole combination of, somehow roadblocks came into my mind that I have to get around. Didn't deal with them before, you know, they weren't there. I got them now. So I don't know, I don't want to keep babbling on, but it's just a part of being willing to overcome. And you have a lot of tools. I mean, I've been hanging out here much better than I am now, but I had all of those tools. And the greatest was that I could yell for help.
Aye. And to put it into what I'm saying, you had to learn to unite with yourself. That part that was saying, you'll never do this again, this isn't going to work.
Well, there's that process of accepting
moving
it has happened.
beyond.
Okay, you got it now. But help me. Get me past this. And so,
And so the life has changed.
greatly.
You take things with more consciousness,
Yes.
and I would also say gratitude and appreciation. And now it's not pressuring yourself to move beyond where you are at the moment, to allow, accept, and know this will be so. 6 months, this can be done. So it will.
But hear me when I yell help. Everybody.
Everybody hear her. Hear, yes. You're going to be finding yourself looking for ways to create that unity. So remember, the first part of the month, you're going to be dealing with your relationships. You're going to be dealing with seeking means to bring together for peace, for ease, to bring about what you want. The second part of the month is going to be all about doors opening up. Sounds nice, I know.
What's behind door number 3?
But the fact of it is, when doors open up, you learn your fears. That's a good thing. That's a real good thing. But it can feel overwhelming at times. So be aware of that. Pay attention to it. You are looking... Aside, sorry. He doesn't want to be really stuck. He wants more freedom. He wants to keep talking to the people across the aisle, and no, I'm just saying that he's not going to be comfortable, and you're either going to end up making him stay still or letting him have a little more lead. I recommend giving him a little more lead, but you know, I'm supposed to be really good, but all these people, I love them.
You're not letting me do my service.
I'm here to love. And that's very much, I'm here to love, going to be the key to those doors that start opening up. Choices that you're going to have in front of you. You are here to love. So by choosing those doors that bring more love into your life, love of yourself, love in that experience, love with another, as opposed to fear, that's how you're going to win. Near the end of the month, probably around the 28th through maybe as much as the 25th, you're going to be dealing with energy that is very, very much about communication. Not so much with others as communication with yourself and your past. Past. Now, if you were at the retreat, you know that we discussed for quite some time about how the past is very much an illusion. It is means to hold you in fear. The past is not real. Your understanding of what happened to you yesterday is only your understanding of what happened to you yesterday. And 6 billion other people have a different story about what yesterday was, and everybody you were with has a different story about what yesterday was. It's illusion. But those arenas within the human aspect of this illusion that likes to have everything in a straight line that says this is the past and this is the present and this is the future, that self is going to have past issues show up. So that means, first, I would recommend that before you get to that part of the month, you might start taking a look at your life and a look at your past and making sure that you are clear and without fear in all of those arenas. How are you doing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually? Unity could fit the whole month. I'm trying to think if there's a part where the desire toward unity wouldn't work. It works for all of it. And if you keep your focus on united in love, I'm here to love, then the choices that you have coming in front of you and the communication that you need to do will all flow gently and easily. It's a very big month. Now, you good there? Yeah. Part one over. Now, the other part. Tell me about the divine feminine. I'm not saying feminine, I'm saying the divine feminine. All right, in a world of dichotomy, with the outbreath of source as a figurative way of saying that, creative abandon was established. The intent of the energy release that ended up becoming your 3 and 4D world of form was a function of divine feminine. Source releases creative intent. Intent, creative intent. Creative intent releases its function in form. Intent moves to thought. Thought moves to word. Word moves to deed. Word and deed as creative functions, let me back up there, as expressive functions of source would be the divine masculine. The intent and the thought are the divine feminine. How many creation stories are you familiar with in your world in which the divine feminine starts it all and the divine masculine comes second? Not very many. Why do you think that is? This isn't hard.
We've been under the heel of patriarchy?
Well,
I'm sorry.
usually because you're choosing the heel instead of the heart. But yes, when religion itself began working its way through the human consciousness, it was a masculine construct. The end product is a masculine construct. And that end product became a means of helping poor humans figure out the best way to live their lives.
Gave us contrast, right?
Contrast, that's nice.
So what you're saying is women were first.
I'm saying the divine feminine was first. Creativity is a function of the divine feminine, but what else is? With regard to intent, how does the divine feminine express intent?
Pure power.
Pure power. I agree with that, but I don't think it's descriptive enough.
Ideas.
Right power.
Ideas, right power, intention, very good,
Unexpressed.
Inspiration.
inspiration, very good. The initial concept is a function of the creative aspect of the divine feminine. That's very important. the initial construct, the idea. But more than that, no, in addition to that, the communication of that idea into a thought. The communication of that idea is not the words that are used to describe that intent. It's that connection into source, into the source field, into the realm of all energy. It's the ability to be the vehicle for that, for all knowledge, and bringing it into intent and thought. That is where your power is. And that, by the way, is the thread. The heart connection, the threat. The threat that creates the human masculine dominate the female idea that has been a part of your societies for so long. That is, has, and will continue to change. Because the divine feminine is also a function of the divine masculine, as the divine masculine is a function of the divine feminine. There is not truly separation. There is not truly war, or one is better, or that's a manipulative stance that should have never made its way into the world. Nonetheless, think Atlantis, there you go. The divine feminine has always been the construct of your communication with Source, your recognition of your portion of all that is, which is all you are. The divine feminine is rising. And in every one of you, you are filled more every day with the power of the force of the divine feminine. The divine feminine is about unity, choices, and communication. And this month happens to be a month that you celebrate the divine feminine, but you call it a mother. Now, I will grant you that many of you did not have mothers that even pretended to be divine feminine. But I want you to take a moment and think about what that idea, maybe the ideal mother, is about. probably the first thing you would come up with is the idea of the intent toward nurturing. How do you nurture a plant, a puppy, a human? How do you nurture? Lilybeth.
You give it what it needs to survive. You give it love to enjoy. You're kind to it. You're gentle with it. You're strong with it. You have courage to do what's needed.
And probably the key in there that she said was nurturing is about giving it what it needs. How good are you at nurturing? What in your life do you nurture? Think about it. How good are you at nurturing? Nurturing is an expression of the divine feminine. In what way? In the expression of love, absolutely. And take that another step up. In the expression of source as a function of love. What else, when you think at its best, what mothering is about?
Intuition, connecting with source to understand the needs, using yourself as a channel to give to.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to add to that. It's perfect as it is. Absolutely.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Now that happens to be the place where most of you have had mother failure in your relationships, the unconditional part, such as human nature.
Being supportive enough to see the likes and the differences of the individual, accepting that they have them and supporting them and expressing all that they are, which may not be what you are.
Supporting and accepting in order that they might best express themselves. Very nice, David.
Encouraging, preparing, and letting go.
Encouraging, preparing, and letting go. Any number of those could have been a failure in your own maternal relationship. Were you encouraged? Were you nurtured? Were you supported? Were you accepted? Were you let go? In a very important spiritual sense, your mother relationship is the way you create your relationships with friends. I want you to think about that for a moment. I'm not saying the way you create your intimate relationships. It's the way you create your relationships with friends. So what was your relationship like with your mother? And how does that relate to the way you function with friends? Anybody want to take a leap at that before I go there? Sure.
I'm thinking about my own personal situation.
Exactly.
my mother was very loving and nurturing, but she also, at her age, when she had me, she gave me freedom, and she kind of disconnected from me, and I'm having a hard time expressing that she didn't hold tightly to me. She loved me, but she let me be.
Was that a good thing for you, or it was? Good, good.
For me, it was a good thing. But somebody else might have thought, well, she doesn't really care. She's old and she's tired and she doesn't want to fight the battles. She just,
And how does that relate to the way you function in friendships?
I think I love people, but I don't get real close to them. I kind of allow them to be separate from me. Is that?
Good realization. Very good. Very good. Don't hold them close.
Well, my mother died when I was a teenager, so it was a way I had to survive by friendships. You know, the nurturing I needed I got from my friends and my sisters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aye. A question. Have you had to deal with fear of loss when you became very close to a person or a situation?
Yep, that was one of my best life lessons, and one of my what we call those core issues was the loss and abandonment theme. So, but I learned to be the conductor of my train. I'm the engineer of the train, loss and grief train. I'm in charge.
Some people take it to the other extreme, and they spend their life protecting themselves from loss and grief. Some people seek out what they needed from others. Some people, more people, make a combination of that. How does your relationship with your mother relate to the way you connect with your friends? That's what I'm asking you. And now I'm going to take it a step further. How does your relationship with your friends express your connection with the divine feminine? Do your friends help you in your communication with Source? Do they give you the unconditional love that you seek? Well, there is a point where friends can only do so much. So let me ask you this. Are you friends with yourself? Would you treat someone else the way you treat yourself? Now, what kind of things am I making reference to here? Things like thinking bad thoughts about yourself. That's pretty simple, eh? Oh, that was stupid. How do you work as a friend for yourself? How do you work as a friend for your spirit? Do you know friends don't let friends, and then fill in the blank?
Listening to you say the thing about, do friends say, or would you say, that was stupid? And in some ways, I can appreciate that in a friend. If they are gentle about it, tell me why it was stupid, and I can learn from it. And the same thing with myself, because, yeah, I can yeah, I can label it stupid, but what I'm really saying is that's something I wished I hadn't done or hadn't experienced, and how can I learn from it? And I think that's a very powerful friendship.
Absolutely, absolutely. However, it takes a lot of growth to be able to hear, which is actually a very powerful and good thing, but not everybody is there. There are still those, even in this room, there are those in your lives who are not at a place where you could, as a friend, talk to them about, this isn't quite working, let's see if we can't come up with a way to make this work better. This is how it is, it cannot change. This is... How do you treat you? Whereas with a friend, you might give them gifts. You might give them a massage. You might... What do you do for yourself? Are you a friend to you? Do you nurture yourself? Do you nurture your spirit and what it needs? Do you nurture the attributes of the divine feminine within yourself? If you do, think for a few moments about what it is you do and how it is you can expand even further in doing that. If you do not do it, why? How do you increase Mayday?
Smells Dylan.
How do you increase your functions of love within your life? Your functions of your connections with Source. How do you befriend you? How do you mother you? How do you express the divine feminine? A very quick last thing in this. The energy of this month is all about divine feminine showing in this world. Now, what is that going to show as? In many arenas, it's going to show up as change in very positive ways. Remember, intent and thought are the feminine aspects. But that also means that in some arenas, exactly the opposite is going to show up as resistance, as fear shows itself up. When you are in the middle of the month and you are looking at many choices opening up for you, for your world, Pay attention to your intent. Pay attention to your thoughts. The unconditional, nurturing love that you already are. You are that perfect and whole and loving being, just like your mother thought when you were a tiny baby. It was just a few years after that that things started changing. You are that remarkable being who is a part of the greater intent of this world, which is all about returning to that one through the growth process of love. So when you see the choice between left or right, door 1 or door 2, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, think divine feminine. Think unity, oneness, wholeness, releasing into being. This month starts a progression that's going to go until November, early December. Who are you? Is going to be a key in there. You are feminine, you are masculine, you are whole. You are all that is. That is divine. Know it. Look in the mirror.